Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and welcome to issue 16 of building my own, not your own, it's mine, building my own X-Wing. This is, say, 16, a long way getting there, very yellowy orange cover. Right, as ever, we'll have a quick flick through the magazine before we get to the building stuff at the end. We have more stuff about Return of the Jedi, studio filming, sand and mud. So, yep. Stuff there. Oddball, don't know, he's Clone Trooper Commander apparently. Looks a bit like that. It's one of the ARC fighters, ARC 170 Starfighter. So here we go. Looking through. Oh, that's it. Not too much background today. We're building, or continuing should we say, the upper starboard engine. This issue's components allow you to add details to the parts from earlier stages and assemble the power converter. Then you can fit the engine sub-assemblies together and install the whole sublight engine on top of the upper starboard S-foil. Cool. Right, let's have a look through. As I learnt my lesson last time about making sure we have all of the parts, let's see what we've got. We have the trailing edge support, which looks a bit like that. Some plant-on details. Let's grab these out of here. What we got here? We've got the little bit with the blobs, the big bit, and that bit. We have power converters, 2 halves, left and right plant on details. We've got a couple of big bits. I have to move it up a bit so we can get to the bottom bit on the bottom of the page. We've got a couple of the smaller bits. We have the internal bulkhead screws, which I haven't opened from the packs yet. We've got them labelled 1 and 2 cunningly. We have 2 dark grey pipes. We have other bits. What have we got? Let's put them out one at a time. We've got one bit that looks like that, which is, it doesn't really look like any of them. Probably that one from a certain angle. Yep, there you go. If you turn it over, it looks just like that. We've got one with the twiddly bit down the end, which is probably one of them. One with a bigger non-twiddly bit down the end, which is probably the other one of them. Straight bit with a curve is probably one of them. Bit with a big curve down the bottom, that's that one. Another straight bit with a curve with a little kink to it, it's one of them. One with a little kink to it is the other one of them. The straight one is one of them. So yeah, we've got all of the parts this week. Right, so now let's move them all off of the page so we can carry on and see what it is that we got to do. I'll try and keep them sort of separate though, so we know what we're doing. So we've got those two. Let's put them there. The next two are sort of separate. Put them there. The next two up there. And the last two down there. And obviously the two very different grey ones I'll put well out of the way over there. Right, let's have a look and see what it is we're going to be doing first. We need the assembly from stage 14, which is nice, big. Yeah, we're going huge again. Now, I can move the camera out, but I'm not going to because I think we're doing little stuff on the big thing. So we're starting off with our 2 pieces to get that over that into there. There we go, yep, that just goes over like that. Some sort of yeah, don't know why that's a separate piece, but there we go. And that will go onto there. All snap fit, no need for gluing any of this as yet. Whether that needs to come apart again for tidying up, weathering and improving, we'll worry about when the wing is completed. So we've got that completed like that. There we go. Now that needs to align. Let's get this the same way around as that is on there. We're talking about that way round by the looks of it. Fitting onto those 2 pins in here, which are those 2 pins there. Oh, that way around. So we're actually flipping it completely over. So those 2 pins are going into those 2 holes. Yep. And that just lines up like that. Cool. So far so good. Let's move that off to one side again. We are then taking the bulkhead and the 4 remaining plant-on details, the 2 bigs and 2 littles. Identifying left and right by holes shown on the insets. Right, that's going to be the tricky thing. Let's have a look. We have the 2 holes on the inside there. So with that hole on the inside, that's the right apparently, and that's the left. Those 2 seem to be identical, so we don't need to worry about those. Flick over the page. Ah, right, they're actually going in. So this is a D-shaped plug, as indeed it is, flat on one side, and that's going into there, just like that. Okay, I'll keep that on that side. Let's do the same on the other side as well, I'm sure. Again, getting it the right way around, finding the flat side against the flat part. Cool, that's easy. Getting this, making sure it's the right way round, so we go that way round. We'll fit that one on there. So the holes are on the inside, just like it's pictured on there. So that's that side, and that's that side. Okay. So far so good. I'm liking this. Nice and easy and quite direct. Push that all the way home. Yep. Right, a line, apart from last time, goes on this side through there to there. Okay, fit the parts firmly together like this. Just did. Yep, just like that. Now, identify the 8 pieces using this guide. Okay, so we've got, I'll put them up at the top there, A, B, C and D are the straight ones. Looking at the pictures, it looks like that goes down that way, so we've got C and D. E and F are the next ones, that's F and E. G and H, probably that way round, but I can't really tell with the pins if they're coming up or going down. Look like they're going down, so that's the way I've done it. So before I do that, let's flick ahead and see. No, they don't give us the guide like we had last time, so we're just going to have to do it by look and common sense. Hopefully I've got enough of this. Right, it just says fit the pin on this end of the pipe A into this hole in the power output unit, but they don't really give you much. Yeah, they could have zoomed out a little bit to show us exactly what bit we're dealing with. It's that side, because I can see this top piece here is that one that we put in last time. So we've got a hole there, and it's going to come down and out and around that way. Oh, and go into a hole on that end, the lower hole, according to this picture. The lower hole there. So let's see. That part A. Let's get it in lower hole first. And then we can get that in there. Doesn't want to go in there very well. There we go. Get it lined up. It just about goes in there. Okay, that's all right. So far, so good. They're not going to show us in each individual bit. It's just going to say use part B, D, and H, obviously, because we couldn't do it in order. And one of those bits has just fallen off in my hand from last time. So maybe I do have to glue those in place, because that shouldn't have fallen off. Or maybe that one wasn't put in quite as secure as the others. We'll see. If any more fall off, I'll try and catch them. Right, so I'm going to put B in next, which is going to go into the other hole down the bottom there. And it's going to go into that hole on the left. So we're going into there, down the bottom, and into that first hole there. Feels lined up, but it's not going in but you've got to get the angle right as well as the positioning right, because it's not necessarily going in straight. It has to go in at a slight off angle, but apparently not that much. Let's try getting it in rotated. That's it, that's in there. And then I've got to try and get the other end of that all the way around and into that hole. Just like that, there we go. Except it isn't. Except it is. Okay, right, let's try H and see if it is in fact that one. No, D. We'll do D next. D is probably that one. And yeah, it looks like it does curve that way. So that's going to go in the top bit there. Or ping around, you know. One of those. Lots of fiddly pinging and wires and things. Fox is going to love this bit when he gets to do it. It's just like doing the spokes on that tyre, Fox. You'll really enjoy this. Get that bit in, and then you bend it and twiddle it to go into the bottom of those two holes there. Yeah, that's quite bendy. Look how much that bends. Ooh, that's not right. That's obviously got to go in further, and the hole, it's got to go further into that hole than that. Ooh, it didn't break, it just pinged out. So that one seems very short, and that one seems very long, but they've got to be those ones. None of the others are quite the same. Let's try getting that into there first. Yeah, that's quite a long way off. I'm not convinced that that's 100% true and right. I might have to shorten that, or don't want to push that away from the edge, because that's pushing it away from the edge. Not sure, I might come back to that one. I shall get the rest of these assembled. D, H is that one. So H is, I think H might be the other one. I think they're pictured going the other way up. That's going to go in there and bend down and go next to that one. So yeah, that one's definitely that one. So that will go into that hole. Let's see, this will tell us how far off the lengths are. That does feel like that's going to be the right length. It's going to go into there. Then we can twiddle that round. Yeah, that's going to be the right length for that. So this one just seems very long. So let's see, is it actually the right bit? What happens if I use the other bit? No, that definitely takes it the wrong way. Maybe it's the curly one. What happens if I use that one? That looks like a better length. So let's try the one that it says it isn't. Terrible if they've made a mistake and told you to use the wrong bit. They couldn't possibly have done that, could they? That feels like a better length and goes together in there better. Although I'll pop these both out, but that's not a problem. They'll go back in. Because I think this is, yeah, that slipped off a little bit where I was playing around with trying to put in one bit that was too long. So that goes in there better than the other one did. And that matches the curve a little bit more with there. So let's have a look what the other ones we've got to do. E and F, I can't remember now. E and F are the two that look like they've got the curve in it. Let's try the ones that haven't got a curve in it. Where are they going? Oh, they're going into those holes there from up there. Going away from each other yet. So if I can get that into that hole on the end there. Yeah, that's a better fit there. So ignore what it says about E and F, and C and D and E and F are the wrong way round. So if you're following along, ignore what it says on those and do them the other way around. You can actually see on that picture there, these have got the curve in it and these haven't. So they're definitely the wrong way round. So I've got 2 more of those to do on the other side, which they don't tell you about. Fit pipes B, D and H in a similar way. Just says put them on the opposite side. So just you know, we told you how to do it a little bit, so just figure it out for yourself after that. Obviously we've got less pipes this side, so the big curvy one was at the top. So I put that in there and that in there. There we go. And then the little one goes underneath. Still into that lower hole. It's not in that lower hole. Get in that lower hole. And then you can go into the upper hole. Might have been better doing that one first. But you don't know until you try. Right, so we've got lots of those wires in there, going in, going along, matching up. That's fine, I'm happy with that. Put that to one side. The other bit didn't come out, so maybe I didn't have it fully in there last week. Continuing the build, we're just popping those together. This is the power converter. That was what Luke had to go and pick up, wasn't it? Power converter from Toshi's station. That's not going home. Week by week, there's a little bit that doesn't go quite right. Considering the Millennium Falcon build and the R2 build, the quality control on this bit is not quite as good. There seems to be a little bit of bits that have to be pushed in a little bit harder than it feels right. There's a couple of bits on the wing, and that bit there just takes a bit more force than it feels like it should. Right, we're taking that, we're fitting that onto there. How are we doing that? We're putting the big tube through that, and that other bit does just keys in there. Guess what? A bit's falling out. What was it? One of my wires. The big one, the one that's only on one side. Oh well. That's in there okay. Once you're not playing around with it, it's probably going to be fine. That's that. Right, next up we have, oh, the 2 black pipes. I'd almost forgotten about those. Where are they going to go? Let's get it the right way round, same way round as that. Take the first of the 2 black pipes that looks like it bends that way. Yeah. It goes into the top of that. Okay. Oh, and into the back of that. Oh, I gotcha. So we've got the top of that and the edge of there. That's okay. Guess what happens to the one on the other side? No, I'm not going to let you guess. I'll just do it. That goes in there, and that goes inside the other side. Okay. So far so good, I like that, that's alright. It looks very different and interesting and stuff. Completed assembly should look like this, it says. And indeed, it pretty much does. Take the assemblies from 5 and 28, together with the sub-assemblies from stage 10 and 502 screws. So we've got the big wing. We've got the cover. We've got the inside bit there, and I've got screws that came this time round, XW02. Let's open that packet, tip them out. I've got one bit left over. I've got this bit. I haven't seen that in the instructions yet. So I'll just flick through in front and make sure it says about it in a minute on the next page, which it doesn't. It doesn't. So let me go back and make sure I haven't neglected it. I don't like having bits left over. It's definitely shown on the instructions there. Oh, it just goes in there. Press the support firmly into place. It's got it pictured on there. Oh, there you go. The horseshoe shoot. I thought it was just showing us that, but it's showing us that on there. Right, okay. It's my fault. I apologise. There was one more bit that I didn't do. That just goes into that missing hole there. Read the instructions more thoroughly. There we go. That just fills in that gap. So that's okay. So far so good. Let's turn the page and continue on screwing things together. Of course, I've prepared a screwdriver. I haven't. It's in my box over here. There we go. Right, we've got this that way up. Fit the power converter assembly through the large rectangular opening. 3 screwdriver. So this is going. A bit fell off again. What bit was that? One of my grey wires. Let me find that and then continue to build. There it is. No, it isn't. Right, give me a sec. I shall rummage and find the bit that I dropped, then put it together, then come back and fit it. There you go. It might be easier using a dab of glue in these, but I don't like gluing things together when you can get away with it, because it might be that it's, needs to come apart for tidying and weathering and things. So we're turning that way up. We're fitting. Oh, this is the other way up. What? Now it's showing it from that way up. Oh, right, so we're coming in and up from down through. So we go under there, like that. Okay, that works. Don't know why we couldn't do it from this side anyway, but there we go. Let me move the camera back, give you a wider angle so we can see what we're doing. We're fitting a screw through there from the other side. So we sort of turn it over to fit the tab into there, and then turn it back over to fit it together. So we're getting that in there, that on there. So we're getting the tab lined up there, because that's going to fit into there. And this bit on the other side has got to line up somewhere as well. Okay, let's try lining things up, because there's pins and there's the big blob there, which is what we're going to be attaching this to. And again, it doesn't quite line up. Is it because it's at an angle, or because it's just not quite lining up? Right, let me again pause the video, manipulate it in the light so I can see what I'm doing, and I'll come back when I've figured out how it goes together. Right, lots of twisting, manipulation and general bending of things. There is a gap there which I wasn't expecting, but we'll worry about that at some point. It has lined up on there sufficiently. So then it says put a screw in there, so we shall put a screw in there. And that will hold it in place, but able to be removed should we need to, if we want to get it apart for any attention, weathering and things. But that's going to hold that together for now. Okay, so far so good, like that. Now we have our other piece that goes that way up, yep, in front of there, just like that. That's quite easy, I like that. Then that bit goes over the top and yeah, pretty much covers over everything that we've just done. That's why there's a gap, because this bit goes through there. That needs to line up there. Yeah, sort of clips in place, but we've got 4 more screws that as long as we get it all lined up properly, yeah, make sure that bit lines up into there, and then yeah, we've got 4 screws to put into there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should be this part completed. Now, as ever with putting in multiple screws, especially into parts that are plastic, it's always best to do one a little bit, get them all in just a couple of turns, don't tighten them down, make sure everything lines up properly, and make sure, as you say, things are seated home. Get them all of them started, double check everything, and then go back and tighten them up. The screwdriver seems to be losing its magnetic. It was magnetic, and now it seems to be less magnetic than it used to be. Okay, so they're all just started. That pin's home. It's all lined up where it should be around the outside. So I can go back in and tighten up those screws to hold everything where it should be. Some movement there. I need to tighten that one up a little bit more. I think not only is this screwdriver losing its magnetic, it's actually losing its shape on the head a little bit, so I might need to replace that. Right, that's on there, that's secure. My wire seems to be popping out from the little groove that it should sit in. I'll get that in there. Continue until you've done that. Alright, I didn't use the screw 01 screws. I'll have another look back in a minute and make sure that I haven't overlooked something, but it's all gone together. So hopefully that's that. Yeah, you can't see, you can sort of see a bit of it in there, but I don't know if, I assume something's going to cover that over as well, because we've got all these screws. So yeah, the internals of that are obviously pretty much optional. But there we have, completes this stage. The wing and assembly should now look like this, and it does. Got 2 wires coming out the side of it and everything. So that is that. Nice shot of some moon base and a drench and some A-wings and an X-wings. That's that. That is indeed issue 16. As long as I haven't forgotten to use some screws, but I'll check that in a minute. If I have, I'll come back and do another ending, but I don't think I did, so I'm pretty confident. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the build. I like a longer episode. It feels like I've done more, although everything we've done is not going to be visible, but we won't worry about that. Thanks for watching. I hope you're building along, and I shall see you soon. Well, in a bit, when I've got the next, hopefully, 4 or 5 issues. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Good night. Bye bye.